Projectors have gotten crazy over the last few years. They've gotten brighter, faster, more color accurate, and most importantly, affordable. They're not what we remember if you remember sitting in our high school classes, kind of bent over on a desk in a dark room, trying to see what's on the board and see what's on your paper at the same time. They're really a totally different thing. Today, we're going to look at 3 of the most popular Amazon projectors we found and see which one's the best. First, the build. Starting with the Whimius P64, we've got pretty nice looking build overall, but again, plastic like the others, makes sense, lightweight. Then we've got the touch panel along the top here, so power, up, down controls, okay, focus right over here. Now it's nice being a touch panel, it feels a little more premium, but that can be a little tough when you're in the dark trying to figure out which button is which. It does light up, but when you're moving your hand across, you can easily slip because it's got that kind of piano gloss there. The back, we can see right here, we've got the ports, the USBs, HDMI, we've got AV and mic, pretty standard amongst all 3 actually, so that's good. And one final thing to note, the air filter actually seems to be somewhere along the bottom over here, making it a little harder to get to compared to the others, which do have it along the side. And I like to have a dust-free projector at all times. That kind of helps it from overheating and also from particles getting inside. Next, we've got the Wimius K9, which arguably is the prettiest and nicest of all the builds. Again, plastic construction mostly, but we've got that nice textile finish there with the golden lettering and even the silver golden kind of ring around the lens. Makes it pop in dark spaces. On top, we've got the single and only real button. There is a remote, obviously, for everything, but if you want something that you can do with just a projector, or if you lost the remote, those extra buttons can come in handy. The back, you can see, got pretty much the same ports, but a little bit different. We've got the Ethernet, 2 USBs, HDMIs, and we've got the headphone jack. Now the remote, if we want to take a look here, we've got the focus dials, just like with the other, so automatic or motorized focus there. And we've got number pads, which make it nice, the Netflix button, YouTube button, Prime Video, and it just makes it a little bit nicer seeing all these buttons here on the remote, but relatively just as useful. Finally, we've got the Nexigo PJ40, specifically the Gen 3. Taking a look around it, you can kind of see that it's probably the biggest one we have here in terms of footprint, but also a little heftier in terms of weight. Nice design, but it is a bit of that older design that we know of from the past. And it's not got the manual or automatic focus. We've got the manual focus tucked away right inside here, and it is a move back and forth, just like that. And no remote focus actually. We've got the remote right here. You can see it's got the volume, simple controls up, down, home, which works. The arrow keys we've got over here. So you can use this instead of the remote if you, let's say, lost the remote inside the couch. Back button, home, and onto the back we go. Got a couple ports here. We've got the Ethernet, 2 USBs, HDMI. We've got the headphone, as well as the AV port. So I think this one's got the most ports out of all. And also, just like the K9, we've got a nice side port, but this one's even more convenient. You can kind of just click that and open up the air filter, which is really actually handy. I love doing that. And up next, we're just going to quickly go through the different interfaces we have on all 3 models, starting with the Nexigo PJ40. We've got a pretty simple display here with the input source, file manager, more settings. There is Miracast and iOS cast, but like we'll mention once in this video, those really are kind of useless in today's tech, and it's kind of better to have a Chromecast or something hooked up instead. You'll see in the settings, we've got the different modes for the screen, projection settings, as well as lights and colors that you can adjust, which comes actually really handy when you want to get things super accurate, especially for the Nexigo PJ40. You won't really see those options on the other models. Next, we've got the Whimius P64. This one does have a slightly smarter display. As you can see, it's got kind of an apps menu, which you can download apps from what they call the NetRange App Store, where you can get things like Netflix, Plex, Prime Video, kind of the major apps, but not anything very advanced or niche. It still has similar settings, but not as in-depth as the Nexigo PJ40 for things like light and color and projection options. Next up, we have the Wimius K9. As you can see, it's starting off with the autofocus and keystone correction here. Now, that's also something actually on the Whimius P64 that I forgot to mention earlier. So that makes setup when moving things around a little bit easier because you get that initial focus and also the keystone mapping. And as for the interface, you can see that it's got a pretty solid smart display, similar to how Samsung displays or some newer smart TVs function. It does have the App Store there with the NetRange App Store, I should say. And that's got a couple features like, again, Netflix, YouTube, Prime, some of the bigger apps. Now, it doesn't have everything, but it is what I would consider a smart built-in display. And finally, the most important test, the actual visuals. We're going to test out the brightness of each one, colors, and we're going to run them through the paces in some animation, live action, as well as some video game modes. We tested each one with the same videos, as well as the same settings. And here's what we have, all three side by side. You'll kind of see a clear winner in terms of brightness and overall color. The Nexigo really seems to pop compared to the others. That really is due to the amount of lumens it's able to project out of the LED. The other thing we notice is also a little bit of a sharper focus. Now, that's something you see more when you're closer up to the actual projector. But the Nexigo is able to achieve a finer level of tuning in focus versus the motorized focus knobs on the other Whimius projectors. Overall color accuracy, especially in darker scenes, as you can kind of see inside the live action scenes, the Nexigo really does pop out, and you can kind of see the darker details that you can't see on the other Whimius projectors. And finally, in game mode, the Nexigo PJ40 with its game settings was able to achieve a way lower latency. So that just means way less of a lag between your controller input versus the actual movement on screen. So Nexigo easily wins this one. It was kind of annoying a little to play on the Whimiuses just because they had that slight lag that didn't feel like it was for fast-paced gaming. And that brings us to our winner, the Nexigo PJ40. It was the obvious choice just due to brightness, color accuracy, overall usability. Now, maybe a bit of a dumber projector in terms of smart features, but overall, and this is the Gen 3, but overall, it's super easy. We could connect our Chromecast, get all the smart features we wanted on there. Plus, we really didn't need much more since the mount was all in one place and we didn't have to keep moving it around. So there was no issue with having the focus set once and forgetting about it. Now, even though the others did have smart capability with the K9 having the NetRange App Store, it really didn't matter to me just because I was using the Chromecast on the Nexigo PJ40 and that made it just as smart as I wanted, connecting it to my phone. That's a $30 attachment you can do and take with you on really honestly anywhere. At this range, honestly, the smart features like NetRange and downloading apps are kind of overrated, and honestly the system on board usually processes a little bit slowly until you get a little bit higher up in projectors that I've seen. But the Chromecast that you can connect to, which I got for $30 on Facebook Marketplace, is perfect for the solution. One thing I highly recommend, no matter how you end up setting up your projector, to really try and mount it on a tripod or the center of the wall like we have here. You can create a bookshelf, stack some other things around it to make it more of a pleasing look. I like to have it permanently mounted because taking it out, wiring it up, putting up the HDMI can be a hassle. So having it hang above me and trying to make it as discreet as possible is my best solution. And I've got my projector screen set up in front of me, so I've got it leveled, measured, and right in the center. So it makes it the best viewing experience, and you don't have to adjust any of the aspect ratios or keystone or map any of the corners, and it really utilizes the entire resolution of the projector. The links for each projector will be below. Please remember to give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already for some more awesome content on its way. We're a new channel, so every like, every subscription really counts. Thank you so much.